Okay, let's talk about what really moves the needle.
Yeah.
What makes the big money, those major investors, decide to jump into a market, especially when things feel volatile?
Yeah, what's that trigger point?
Exactly. What shifts? What makes them act when maybe the rest of us are just watching? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive into some pretty fascinating recent action around Shiba Inu SHIB. That crypto that always seems to grab headlines.
Right. And our mission here is really to unpack what a recent CoinDesk analysis tells us. We're going to look at the key stuff, whale activity, specific chart patterns.
Big fish.
The big fish, exactly. We want to figure out what this all means for SHIB, like in the near term, and how it fits into the bigger crypto picture.
Yep. So stick with us. We're going through the market data, even some AI insights, which are pretty cool, to give you a really clear view of what's actually happening with SHIB right now. Okay, so let's jump right in. The biggest news, the thing that really stands out from our sources, is this huge purchase by the so-called whales. We're talking like 10.4 trillion SHIB tokens bought up. That's a massive number.
It really is. And the context here is super important. This wasn't just random buying. It was worth over $110 million.
Wow.
And it was the biggest single day of accumulation they've seen in, 5 months? Crucially, this happened on Monday.
Okay.
And that was right after a SHIB had tanked to a 16-month low, around that 0.000000000005 mark. So it's not just buying low. It smells like a real strategic play,
Yeah, definitely sounds like classic bargain hunting, seeing weakness and pouncing.
Exactly. It signals they believe there's value there, even or maybe especially when the market's scared. It's a move you often see before things turn around in these kinds of assets.
And you could see the effect almost immediately, couldn't you? That whale buying probably played a big part in SHIB bouncing back. Was it 17% from that Sunday low?
Oh, absolutely. It likely provided a strong floor and a confidence boost.
You can almost picture the market seeing those big buys and thinking, okay, maybe the bottom's in.
Right. And connecting it to the wider market, remember, things were kind of stabilizing overall. Bitcoin had that dip below $100 over the weekend.
Yeah, that was scary for a minute.
But it was back near $106,000 around the time of the article. So the whole crypto space was calming down a bit after those jitters about Middle East tensions. It shows SI wasn't just moving on its own. It was part of that broader sentiment shift.
Okay, so the whales made a big splash. But beyond that, what are the charts telling us? What's the nitty-gritty technical picture for SHIB?
Well, the market data suggests this SHIB is holding what analysts call a generally constructive posture. Basically, despite the roller coaster, the underlying trend is sort of quietly positive.
Constructive posture. So like building a base.
Yeah, kind of. You see it in the pattern of higher lows.
Yeah.
Even when it dips, it finds support at a slightly higher level than the last dip. It forms this subtle upward channel.
Like climbing stairs, even if you take a step back occasionally.
Exactly. It suggests buyers are willing to step in at higher prices than before, which is a sign of underlying strength. And we saw some really specific proof of that. There was significant volume support in the 24 hours from Monday morning to Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Right around the 0.00001158 level, the trading volume just surged there, 439 billion SHIB. That's way above the daily average.
So lots of buyers showed up right at that price point, like a line in the sand.
Pretty much. It suggests strong conviction there, forming a kind of temporary floor.
Now, here's the interesting bit for me, the resistance level. The analysis points to more upside. If SHIB can break through 0.0000001175, that's the ceiling it needs to punch through, right?
Correct. That's the key level to watch.
And at the time the source was written, SHIB was trading around 0.0000001162, so right up against it, teetering on the edge.
Precisely, which leads us nicely into those AI insights you mentioned. It's one thing to see these broader patterns, but the AI can zoom right in minute by minute. It's not just noise, it helps pinpoint where the real buying or selling pressure is building, especially near critical levels like that resistance.
So what did the AI pick up?
Well, for instance, during a specific hour on Tuesday morning from about 7:06 a.m. to 8:05 a.m.,
Okay.
SHIB edged up just slightly from 0.000000000000000000001171. Only a 0.2% gain. Tiny.
Doesn't sound like much.
No, but it shows that pressure building towards that key 0.000000001175 level.
Ah, okay. And did it show any specific bursts of activity?
It did. This is cool. Between 7:25 a.m. and 7:27 a.m., just 2 minutes, there was a price surge.
2 minutes?
Yeah, and the volume spiked to over 12 billion SHIB right as the price hit that session high of 0.000000001175. That brief, intense burst suggests a real attempt to break through that resistance.
It's like a concentrated push.
Exactly. Now, what happened next is also telling. While the price was generally making those higher lows, forming that ascending channel we talked about, around 8:03 a.m., there was a sharp little correction. It dipped back to test the 0.00001171 level as support.
So it hit the ceiling, bounced off, and checked the floor again.
Sort of, yeah. It suggests some consolidation after that rally attempt, people taking profits, maybe new buyers testing the waters. Pretty standard market stuff.
And there's always a bet in crypto, isn't there?
Yeah, often seems that way.
There's a pattern emerging now that could change things up quite a bit. Let's talk about this descending triangle. What is that, and why should you, our listener, pay attention to it?
Right, this is important. The sources point out that SHIB's recovery kind of hit a wall since Tuesday. The price has been trading within what looks like this descending triangle pattern.
Okay, break that down. What does it look like?
Imagine a chart. You've got a ceiling that's sloping downwards. Those are lower highs, meaning each rally attempt is weaker than the last.
Okay, losing steam on the upside?
Exactly. And then you have a flat floor, a horizontal support line that the price keeps hitting and bouncing off of.
So it's getting squeezed between a downward slope and a flat bottom, like a wedge.
Precisely. The range is tightening, and usually when you see this pattern, it means a bigger move is coming. The spring is coiling, basically.
Okay, so it's decision time.
Sure.
What are the possibilities here?
Well, there are two main scenarios, pretty much textbook outcomes for this pattern. First, the bullish one.
Let's hear it.
If the price breaks upwards, pushes decisively through that falling trend line, that ceiling, that signals a bullish breakout. It means the buyers won, they broke the downward pressure, and the recovery rally is likely back on. It could open the door to testing higher resistance, maybe that June 16 level above 0.0000123.
Okay, so break up, potentially go higher. What's the other side?
The other side is the bearish breakdown. If the price falls below that horizontal support line, that floor.
If the floor gives away.
Right. If it breaks down, that signals a bearish reversal. The sellers have taken control. The uptrend or recovery attempt is over for now, and the price could head significantly lower.
So this descending triangle really puts SHIB at a critical point right now. It's fascinating.
It really is. It makes this moment potentially decisive for the short term. The market's basically telling us it's at a crossroads, and we're waiting to see which path it takes.
So summing it all up,
Yeah.
there's this real tension, isn't there?
Absolutely. That's the core takeaway from the sources, I think. You've got this really significant whale buying.
Big money betting on a recovery.
Right, suggesting some fundamental belief or at least a strategic bet on value, but then you overlay the immediate technical picture.
And you see this descending triangle, this coiled spring.
Exactly, which could snap either way, continue the recovery the whales seem to anticipate, or reverse downwards sharply. It's that classic battle between maybe longer-term belief and short-term market structure.
So here's the final thought for you listening in. You've heard the signals, the huge whale buys, the subtle uptrends, the AI pinpointing bursts of activity, and now this critical descending triangle pattern. How do you weigh these forces? Where do you think the balance lies right now for SHIB?
Yeah, and maybe stepping back. What does this specific SHIB story tell you about how sentiment, big money moves, and those technical chart patterns all dance together in the wild world of crypto?